Muy buena gente. ¿Qué tal? Vamos al lío de Montepiano. A ver cuál es nuestro siguiente caso con el foco. Ahí. ¿Qué cojones? Se dedica a espiar a una puta gorda.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
¿Qué mes?
The letter.
This is where I keep my post.
Será una de estas. Esto.
I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. The Brackenstall family coat of arms. A wax seal with the monogram E.B.
Hay que analizar tanto todo. Bueno. A ver de qué se trata el asunto.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always. It appears to be a case of murder.
Otro de
You believe
asesinato.
that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the EB monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Vamos.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of
Entonces
great
es un
value.
robo.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid, Teresa Wright.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Lady Brackenstall awaits you in the morning room.
Sir Warthen Brackenstall.
Lady Brackenstall...
Lord Brigham Brackenstall. Lord Ramsay Brackenstall.
No sé quién es el cadáver.
Baron...
Lady. Vale. No sé si es para allá, para acá. Vale, es aquí.
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
A ver qué nos cuenta la tía.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time. Out of control. Again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw 2 others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were 3, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Supongo que se refiere a la chacha.
Did these 3 villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
Your ladyship? Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir.
trabajo.
As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw 3 men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
Vale, tenemos que ir al comedor. Vamos a ver qué hay por aquí antes de nada. Estos son los supuestos asesinos. Vale. Primero hay que coger un poco el hilo. Bastante joven la mujer.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
Sí, eso es verdad, podría ser. ¿Qué cojones quieren que vea aquí? What? Ah, el cuadro. Arañazos.
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame.
Vamos a moverle. Caja fuerte.
This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it.
Vale. Si sabe la clave.
Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the
Me lo
combination.
imaginaba.
We have to open it. Your ladyship?
A ver.
Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
Vale, o sea, no necesito ningún instrumento raro. Esperemos que las cajas fuertes nunca fueran así de seguras. No jodas.
It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal. Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care.
A ver, ¿qué tenemos aquí? Muy bien. No he tenido problemas médicos. Vale. Vamos a ver el cadáver. No, aquí no me queda nada. Un momento, antes de irme. Sí, tenemos una conversación.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have...
Pero no con esa. ¿Esta?
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behavior.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was especially hard for her.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Vale.
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
No debía
To the
beber.
point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Ojo, para evitar un escándalo.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
Ahora, vamos. Antes de nada. ¿Qué suena? Vale, vamos a examinar
So,
primero.
Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
Barefoot. He had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon.
Formidable.
That must be the murder weapon. The head was cracked with the force of the blow.
Me con un atizador. No nos...
It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
Sí, no, chico. Demasiada sangre veo yo ahí. Una polea.
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me.
Ese de allí, supongo.
Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to.
Sí, la ataron con la cuerda esa. 3.
This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other two are clear. A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed. Chateau Calon Ségur, French wine, Grand Cru.
Sí, ya sé que tengo que ir a por el chucho.
Antique hunting weapons.
Hay que analizar todo bien
The
primero.
hunting scene. A trapper's hut. A trapper's hut.
Joder,
A trapper's hut.
o sea, es lo mismo.
A fur trader's cabin.
Es que la más mínima chorrada luego te sirve para algo. ¿La polea esa para qué será? ¿Para la chimenea?
A deer hunt. A fur trader's cabin. The hunting scene.
Que es donde robaron la
An
cubertería.
empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France.
Y falta esa, que
A
es la que hay
bottle
en la
of
mesa.
wine is missing here. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen. The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware.
Tendrían prisa. A ver, aquí, ¿qué tenemos?
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
Vale. Eso resta posibilidades.
The death was instant.
Bien. A ver. Vemos la conversación. Tenemos que hacer un análisis aparte de coger al chucho. Vamos a hablar primero de las copas. El detective no creo que tenga nada que decir.
I've searched outside for footprints.
A ver. Ven aquí, amiga.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, Each of them had a glass in his hand.
No encaja.
They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
No tiene mucho sentido.
Your ladyship?
Eso.
Please leave my Mary alone. She suffered so much, she deserves...
No tiene mucho sentido lo de las copas. Porque una no tenía decantación y las otras dos sí. Podemos suponer que una era del padre y las otras de los hijos. Pero eso significa que el padre se la echó directamente a la botella y los hijos del decantador. No tiene mucho sentido. Si le echas el vino primero a un decantador, ya lo tiras ya ahí directamente. Ah, podemos salir al jardín. Por aquí podremos buscar más pistas, ¿no? Supongo. Coño. Hay que mirar bien todo. Ya sabéis que si te dejas algo... No aporta nada. Es como si aquí no hubiera nada que ver. Vamos a mirar el pozo. No. Como si esta parte no... De momento al menos no... ¿Ahí está choza? De momento nada. Puede que más adelante haya que entrar ahí para algo. Vale. O vamos a casa, analizamos la cuerda y cogemos al chucho. Primero analizar.
Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut. Let us try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope.
No.
The fibers from this cut appear to be different. If I cut the rope
Encaja
with a
más.
knife, it matches the original.
Fue con un cuchillo. Vale, a ver, chucho.
Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire on this case. I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts.
Supongo que el perro ya me sigue todo el rato. Vamos a ver esto. Buah, lo que no se me ha juntado, mierdas. Hace una semana... Posiblemente por esto. No, qué raro. Esto de momento... Coño, quita. El cuchillo tiene que ir con esto. Mierda. que seleccionar aquí. Mierda, qué manía me da a mí con dar escape, macho. No. Ah, vale, que está separado. Quita. Supongo que esto irá con cadáver. Sí. Vale, de momento nada más. Vale, vamos con el chuchu.
Search, Toby.
¿A que manejo el chucho yo? No jodas. Supongo que tengo que seguir esto. Afuera. ¿A qué va la cabaña? Justo. Acá aún no hemos entrado. Y salieron, ¿eh?
The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware.
Sí, pero es que salieron por aquí. ¿El pozo? Escondieron algo ahí.
The scent leads to the well. I should check it.
Se fueron por acá. Saltaron por aquí.
The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a
Porque hicieron algo.
route.
Está clarísimo. Vale, cobertizo primero. Esto está... Habitación. Si ya la he mirado, ¿no? Mejor me he dejado algo.
This hook might be useful. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty. Small gardening tools, nothing of great interest. Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved.
¿Eh? Vale. Vamos al pozo.
There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it?
Con la cuerda y el gancho, supongo.
The bucket can be easily removed.
Aquí, vamos a esto. Hay plata dentro. Creo.
Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence. The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen
Sí, pero ¿por qué lo
silverware.
dejaron aquí? Tiene ningún sentido. Y luego saltaron por acá.
The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall.
Vale. Vamos a mirar bien la habitación. Porque algo me he dejado, me parece. Esta es Lady, ¿no? Sí. Pues algo me he dejado aquí. Ah.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one? So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
Bien. Vale, esto ya está. Así, hay que hablar de los cubiertos. Vamos a hablar primero. Y luego unimos mierdas.
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed.
Sí, pero ¿por qué lo dejaron ahí? Es que no le veo sentido. No
We
es un
found
robo.
your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship? Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a
Exactamente.
well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
Vale. Vale. Vamos a intentar desatascar un poco. Vamos a decir esta. Dos personas. Lo de 3 copas. La copa de sobra contenía los pozos de las otras 2. tiene mucho sentido. Pero esto culpabiliza directamente a la mujer y la otra. Esto me empieza a encajar esto, ¿eh? De momento vamos a dejarlo como que son los Randall. Yo creo que es esto más bien. A mí me encaja más que fue fingido todo, ¿eh? Hablamos de una persona violenta. ¿Qué pasa? Ah, bueno, pues vamos a poner esto. Para que no nos quedemos atascados, por lo que veo nos quedamos... Vamos a buscar un marinero, a ver si lo encontramos. Tiene bastante sentido. Vale. ¿Y dónde busco yo a los marineros? Vamos a ver si puedo hablar con ella.
Holmes, don't look at me like that.
Oh, what a horrible
Please leave my Mary alone. She suffered so...
Pero... ¿Pero dónde cojones? ¿Creen que busque yo a un puto marinero?
Brave Toby, the best
El
known
atasco
in
es
the
bueno
British
ahora, ¿eh?
Empire.
Esa puerta de ahí. Nada. Y la otra puerta supongo que sigue chapada.
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
No me dejan subir. No hay nada que ver. El Watson no anda por acá.
Please leave my...
Oh, what a horrible
No sé qué cojones quieren que haga. La teoría es que la mujer conoce a alguien, vale, pero... Ah, vale. El nombre del barco. Tenemos. Y la fecha. De verdad podemos mirar los archivos. Ya decía yo. Esto. ¿Qué más tenemos? Enciclopedias. No, una enciclopedia. Bueno, vamos a ver si en periódicos hay algo. 1893. Mira. Seis meses con...
Here it is. The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
Llame a los especialistas. Wiggins. Vale. Llámale.
Wiggins, would you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893 and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
Vale, a ver qué tenemos. No me lo han dado. Joder.
I left it right on the table
Ah,
for you,
joder.
sir.
Dios, me lo podía haber dado directamente a mí.
This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor.
Eso tiene sentido.
And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London Line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th.
7 de noviembre.
This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime.
Ah, que tengo que ir tachándoles, coño.
I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think
me
that
dejan
this sailor has any
seleccionar a
connection
cualquiera.
to the case.
7 de noviembre. Vale. 6 de mayo. Este tampoco. El 10. No. Estos podrían ser unos.
I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case.
Ahora me están liando. Esta. 23. Llegada a Londres. Ah, llegada. Vale, no. Estaba en la mar. Vale. Coño. Mayo, 12 de noviembre. No, tiene que ser posterior. 8 de enero. Estos salieron de Londres, de aquí, hacia el 10 de noviembre. Estos podrían ser alguno de ellos.
I do not think that this sailor has any connection. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case.
No, por Capitán
Mr.
Coño.
Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case.
O sea que son
I do
solo
not think that this
capitanes.
sailor has any connection to the case.
Ah, vale, que hay que tachar y seleccionar a todos los que hay en esta lista. O sea, eliminarlos y cogerles, coño. Vale. Y aquí tenemos a este.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Alguno más. Ese Thomas Walker, segundo oficial.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Ernest Woods y Henry. Aquí no. Aquí está.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Henry Charles.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Y me falta Charles, ¿no? Charles. Este no es. Este.
This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the
O
time
sea, solo
of the
tenemos a
crime.
uno. Menos mal.
Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him.
El chaval.
Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
honesto, o sea que no me va a mentir. Tío fuerte, es grande, por cierto. Tiene un cuchillo.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. From when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You... and what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night?
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
Confiado estaba el tío, eso es verdad. Si hago esto, ¿se culpabiliza? Sí. La cosa es, no podemos hablar de este capitán a la señora. Es sorprendente que no me dejen, yo lo haría, ¿no? Vamos a ver. Voy a probar a ver si me dejan hablar con ella. Porque es que es una conjetura todo.
Oh, what a horrible...
Please leave my Mary alone.
Que claro, no hay prueba para culpabilizar a este hombre. No puedo culpabilizarle, salvo que dejaron los cubiertos ahí, entonces el robo se descarta. El robo fue fingido, eso está claro. sentido que dejaran ahí la plata. Es que no lo tiene. Vas a dejar la plata en el jardín para luego volver a por ella. Yo no lo veo. Vamos a ver la otra posibilidad, ¿vale? Pero a mí no me encaja. Es que es muy extraño todo, ¿eh? Pero es cierto lo del periódico, lo de la plata escondida no me sigue sin encajarme. Yo creo que fue el marinero. Y quisieron culpabilizar a estos. Está claro que hay aquí violencia doméstica por medio, entonces voy a culpabilizar al otro. Pero... voy a absolverle. Vale. Sigue habiendo un caso de violencia doméstica por medio. Entonces... lo absolvemos. Es un caso fácil este, ¿eh? Comparado a los otros.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He! He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Por los pelos.
Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded
Se quería suicidar el tío.
expectations. See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night.
Hemos actuado bien en todo
Inspector,
momento.
I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.
El 93%. Está bien. En el caso anterior le cagamos. Ya solo la hemos cagado en un caso de 4 que llevamos, ¿no? Por ahora. Vale. Vamos a hacer el siguiente. Este caso ha sido cortísimo. O se me ha hecho cortísimo a mí, lo he hecho muy fácil.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Abejas.
Hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, how ever did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
irnos de viaje. A ver si aquí tenemos... Aquí hay una carta ya. A ver, ¿de qué se trata este caso?
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
El robo de unas plantas. Al menos esta vez ya no es un asesinato, joder. De momento
Don't
todos han
touch
sido de
anything
eso.
else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favor for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
3 personas.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The 2 of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
Hacía yo que un caso de robo de plantas se nos quedaba un poco pequeño, ¿no? Pero lo vamos a dejar aquí. Y mañana lo continuaremos. ¿De acuerdo? Venga, gente. Hasta mañana.